This is how we do it.
This is how we do it.
La 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 la.
This is how we do it.
All right, thanks for joining me for the first time in 2016. Sorry about that, folks. And unfortunately, life gets busy sometimes. But anyways, welcome back to This Is How I Do It. And today we're going to do Windows 7 Backup and Restore Utility. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm currently working on a project that requires me to use this, but looking online, not all the options are featured. So I want to go over that and make sure that everybody's aware of what you can do with the backup and restore utility in Windows 7. Now, this utility is also in Windows 8, 8.1, and 10. However, in 8 and 8.1, they decided they wanted to depreciate it and got rid of the GUI part of it, but it was still there. And then they brought it back in Windows 10 because it was so dang popular. But let's go on to the next slide. All right, so there you go. This is what Windows 7's backup utility was. They actually started messing around with this in Vista SP1, but it really didn't come into focus until you got Windows 7. And believe me, this is a very powerful utility. They decided one of the few things they did in Windows 10 was actually bring this back in full force. So I was glad about that. They may not have proven a lot of areas, but they did at least keep this. All right, the prerequisites needed. All right, well, obviously, Windows 7. It could be any edition of Windows 7, with one exception, which I'll tell you about later. Windows 8, 8.1. This cannot be interfaced through the GUI. There are other ways to do it. I'm going to show you a quick, simple way to interface this. Or, like I said earlier, Windows 10. Now, there's technically 4 options you can do to back up your OS. Okay, the first one is at a minimum, and only do this if you do not have any other spare internal or external drives available, but you can back it up to the same partition on the same hard drive, and it will work. It's just like, if your hard drive goes bad, then you kind of screwed. So that's why I put not preferred. Then you have option 2, which is what pretty much everybody uses, is either put it on a separate internal drive, or the best yet is have an external drive with at least 50 gigs or so, and then you can back up your OS that way. And that is actually the preferred method of doing this. Option 3, I'll put a reason why it's not preferred because, listen, no OS these days is going to be either less than a gig or even 8 gigs with dual layer DVDs. Now, it can back up on Blu-ray, but you're only going to still get that 7.5 to 8 gigs. So this is really not the perfect method. It can be done. You'll have to use probably a crap load of DVD DLs, and then you'll have to put the first one in order to restore to. This is more of a pain, which I would not recommend to anybody. So let's go ahead and go on to option 4. Now, option 4, what's peculiar about this one, and again, it's Microsoft trying to get more money out of you, is that you can also back up to a network share location on your network. So that means, like, if you have a separate PC or server, or I don't care if it's Linux, as long as it's a CIFS, you can back that image up to that share location. However, this is only available in the professional on-up versions of the Windows versions I just told you. So in Windows 7, you can only do it in Pro, Enterprise, and Ultimate. And in 8, 8.1, and 10, only in Professional and Enterprise. The Home editions, you are out of luck on. So sorry about that. All right, the host requirements are pretty basic. You just want to basically make sure that the machine that you're backing up, it can back up. I mean, it's pretty minimum. RAM-wise, you could probably get away with 2. I put 4. As far as the hard drive space, honestly, folks, you're going to want at least 50 gigs. And I'll tell you why. Because when you back up your pristine operating system after you get done building it, it's not going to be no 20 or 30 gigs. It's going to be at least 50, if not more. The video card really doesn't matter. And then The minimum operating system you can do this on is Windows 7 in either 32 or 64-bit. So, anyways, let's go on to the desktop.
Okay, and we are now on the desktop. We're going to do this in Windows 7, which is where the create the system image basically originated from. So, and like I said before, this will work on Windows 7, Windows 8, 8.1. You have to do it a little differently, which I'm going to show you, and then of course Windows 10. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do it a couple ways. I'm going to show you some. So we can go File, and then this is in Windows 7, Control Panel. And what I'm showing you now will work with both Windows 7 and Windows 10. I'll show you how to get to System Image in a second for Windows 8 and 8.1. So then you want to go to where it says Backup and Restore. Okay, so here we are. We're Backup and Restore. You're going to have Create a System Image. Now, if you can do one of two ways here when you restore your image. You can either use the installation DVD that came with your OS, or if you don't have an installation DVD, you can then go ahead and do what's called create a system repair disk. All right. And what that's going to do is it's going to create a, back, the old days of a boot disk, which will have all the same options of restoring your system image if your computer goes to complete crap and you need to boot to it in order to restore it on your old drive, or if your old drive went bad, into your new drive. So in this case, also it can either be a CD or DVD. It does not have to be a DVD. If you have a CD, the files will fit on a normal CD. So I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel for now, but all you would do is put it in there, hit create, bam, you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel all of that. Now, depending on what version of Windows you have, whether it be 7, 8, or Windows 10, is what options you're going to have to back up to. Now, if you have a home edition of either 7, 8, or 10, you will not get this network option, which is actually pretty nice, to where you can back up to somewhere on the network. So you can retrieve it that way. And I'll go into more of those options in a second. So you have basically three ways. You can either do it to another hard drive. So if I want to say, oh, I want to, back up to this hard drive here, you can. Now, please note, this is on the same partition as the same hard drive you're backing up. So recommended is either have a secondary hard drive put in or use an external drive. Most people will tell you to do the external drive method, which is actually a lot better. Second option is you can use the old media method as far as like a CD, DVD. It does do Blu-rays, but you will not get the full benefit of the Blu-ray. This will only back up to 7.5 gigs. So using a Blu-ray, you're just wasting money. So if you're going to back up your OS to DVD, you can. It will break up to a multi-span, and you'll have to put the last DVD in if you're going to restore it. It's a bit tedious. In this day and age, you don't really need to use this. So I would either go with the external method or the second hard drive method, or you can go with the network location. Okay, now this is only available if you have a Pro edition of Windows. In Windows 7, that would be Windows Professional, Enterprise, Ultimate. With Windows 8 and 8.1, it would just be the Pro edition or the Enterprise edition, and same thing with Windows 10. It'd be the Pro edition and the Enterprise edition. Okay, I'm going to tell it where to back up my image on my network. Now, I've already created a share on my server. Now, it does not have to be a server. It can be another Windows PC running somewhere else. It can even be a Linux share. As long as it's a CIFS share, and you people out there who understand Linux know what I'm talking about, you can back it up anywhere you can, where you want. Doesn't matter. It does not have to be Windows. It can be Linux too. Or it could be a regular PC. It does not have to be like a server or anything. Just as long as it's somewhere on your network. So we're going to hit select. Now, you can do the whack whack feature where you can go whack whack your server name or / your PC name or the CIFS shares name, whatever. than the share. Do it the easier way. You can do it via browse on your network. Give it a second while everything just sort of miraculously shows up here. All right, so now you have a list of different computers on the network. I'm going to save it onto my server. So I press the little arrow down, and it'll figure it out in a second. Sometimes it's a little slow. All right, so you see I have all these different folders. Well, I've created one just for this Windows PC image. I'm going to click OK. Now, if you have folders under that you want to use, you can. I'm just for this experiment or for this demonstration, I'm going to just use this. So it's going to go ahead and say, all right, I'll save it to this. Now, as you know, anything on a network is going to need ask for credentials. So what you want to do is, if it's not in a domain, if it's just a normal standalone PC, whatever, whatnot, this is what you'll most likely be doing. You'll type in the name of the device, whether it be a PC or server. The account name. And finally, the password, which I am not going to tell you. All right, so all that's in. You're good to go, so now you're going to click OK. Now let's make sure that you have a valid network location, which shouldn't take long. So it's okay with it. It's giving you this rule of warning, hey, it's not secure. So yes, I'm not backing it up on an encrypted freaking network. That's a lot more work, and for home or small business, you really don't need to go that route. So anyways, we're going to hit next. All right, so it's now asking you, okay, other than the primary system and boot partition, what else do you want me to back up so you can restore it if you have to? I'm going to go ahead just for the laughing giggles. I'm going to, even though these folders are basically empty, I'm just going to go ahead and say, sure, why not? Let's do this. Hit next. So it's okay. I'm confirming. I'm going to back up to this network location. The backup, it will take blah, 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 80 whatever of space. And then go ahead and hit start backup. Now, depending on the size of the backup, it could take anywhere from, say, 10, 15 minutes. It could take an hour or two, depending on how big it is. So what I would do at this point is, relax, go do something else, maybe get a soda or something out of the fridge, and just wait for it to finish. Okay, as you can see, it is now completed. This took approximately, I think, a half hour off of 50 gigs, so that's not too bad. But after it's done, it will once again prompt you to create a system repair disk if you have not already created one. My advice is go ahead and create one. All you just label is Windows 7 Windows 7 recovery boot disk. And it doesn't matter, again, this will work on Windows 7, 8, 8.1, and 10, so it doesn't really matter. But create one and have it, so if that rainy day does come, you're good to go. But we're going to close and do no. And close. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. And now we're going to go verify that it indeed backed up. So we're going to go to the share that I put it on. All right. And there we are. And that's not bad. It's 42. Yeah, I was right. It was about close to 50 gigs, about 42, 43. And there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch over to another environment. I'm going to show you how to do this using Windows 8.8.1. Now, again, everything I showed you as far as creating it, that's all going to be same. However, there is no direct UI access in Windows 8.8.1 because at that point Microsoft was trying to phase it out, but due to popularity, they actually added the Windows 7 backup recovery functionality in Windows 10. So, but there is a way of, without having to go through PowerShell or do other things or use the install DVD to back it up with, that you can do to just access the utility. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, so now we're on a Windows 10 desktop. The reason why I'm showing you this is because it's very similar to Windows 8. And in Windows 8 and 8.1, they do not have a direct GUI interface for the backup and recovery. Like I stated before, they were trying to phase it out, but the popularity of this Windows 7 backup and recovery was so popular that they never really completely purged it out of Windows 8.8.1, and then when they did Windows 10, they actually just went ahead and put it back in there. It's still the Windows 7 part of it, but it's not like a Windows 10 backup recovery. It's still Windows 7, but this is a very useful tool. So to access it, there's no GUI interface to do it. You have to go to your Start menu. I'm using Classic Shell, by the way. It doesn't matter. You should have a search feature like this in your normal Windows 10 Start menu, or Windows 8 or 8.1. There should be something similar to this. Anyways, in this search program and files box, you're going to type in Files, and then History. Or actually, I think it's just Files. Okay, so you see this little icon right here where it says File History. You're going to click on that. It will give it a second, and then it should pop up. It's going through. Okay. So you see how you can restore personal files, blah, blah, blah. And then right down here, you can see System Image Backup. Again, for Windows 8 and 8.1, that's the only way you're going to be able to get to this. So you do System Image Backup, and voila, just like in Windows 7, you have create System Image, create your repair disk. The System Image thing is exactly the same as if you did it on Windows 7. And as I said before, if you have a Home Premium version, you will not get that network location, the one that's located right here. You will only have the option to do it on CD, DVDs, and again, Blu-ray is supported, but you will not be able. It'll only go up to 7.5 gigs, or on a separate hard drive, which is probably the easiest and most recommended by most people. But you do have the network location, which is very useful if you do have, say, a server somewhere and you want to back it up to that. That's a good way of doing it if you have the Pro version. If you don't, if you have Home Premium, then I would just stick to the hard disk. We'll just pretend this is an external drive. Same thing, choose whatever you want to back it up on. You hit next. Then it'll confirm your backup choices, and then you'll start to backup. It's very similar again to what we did with the network one. I'm not going to go ahead and just show it today because it's basically the same thing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sign off. I'm going to try to do one where you can do the recovery through the boot disk or the start installation disk that comes with your operating system on another episode. So once again, thank you for watching, and if you like this, please hit that like button, and if you really like it, go ahead and subscribe.